I served in the IDF in a unit called Golani in the 13th Battalion from the year 2014 to 2016. Throughout my service, we served in the north, in the south, and villages in between. And I spent many months on the Gaza border.
My family's been very close to Levi Raskin for our whole life. And then in high school, he did minyan every morning. I started putting tefillin every day since that.
I'm born and raised in Montreal. My life sort of took me to Israel. It's been 7 years that I'm living in Israel.
So I heard what was going on the morning of Simchat Torah on October 7th when the war broke out.
On October 7th, we were woken up at 6:30 in the morning. Sirens came on. We took the kids to the bomb shelter. Very soon after, we turned on the news and we found out that this was something much more serious than ever before. And we just locked ourselves at home all day long until we could find any sort of clarity as to what's happening.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Over the next few days, I was frozen. I had a feeling of that I couldn't do anything, and it was so frustrating for me.
Jeder Jid und alle Jiden stehen gerät, aber beschützen jeder Teil von Eretz Yisrael.
My immediate feeling was, I have to go. How do I get there? What's going to be? And it was a very, very, very tough couple of days. I learned that one of my officers, Itai Berdichevsky, and his wife got killed in Kfar Aza, leaving behind their baby twins. One of the guys that I served with, his little brother, sacrificed his life on base by jumping on a grenade. His name was Matana Bergel. Another one of the guys I served with buried two of his brothers that week. It was very, very, very upsetting, very confusing. All the guys I served with got back to base, put on uniforms, got weapons to go protect the land, and it was a very, very, very tough couple of days until we were able to see what was going on, and ultimately it was decided that I'm not going to go fight, I'm going to stay here.
Parents were in Israel and they sort of encouraged me and the kids and my husband to all leave Israel and go to Montreal while things are unclear. And I went with the kids and my parents on this long journey from Tel Aviv to Athens, Athens to London, and London to Montreal. Really long journey, but we got to Montreal just feeling in a very strange mood, feeling like I needed to get my bearings.
I called my father. I told him, listen, this is what I'm thinking. I really want to go back. I have responsibilities, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure. I want to go. I want to fight. This is what I'm trained to do. This is what I sacrificed, years of my life to protect, and now it's in a moment of truth, and this is what I'm actually feeling. And my father told me, he said, listen, sitting in your room is not gonna do anything. You have to figure out to do something to move forward. And at that point I said, you know what, I'm just gonna come to Chabad, put my tefillin on at Chabad and pray. And I came to Chabad, I went synagogue downstairs. I put on my tefillin, I prayed, I read some Tehillim, and then I came out. I said I'm going to go speak to Rabbi Raskin to seek his advice, to see what I should be doing in this time, because I was a little bit lost.
Since the October 7th massacre, I felt stuck in every single way you can, where you're so far from home that you can't really do anything. And I feel like a lot of people felt the same way, and they felt alone, and all the violence going around the world, and you feel like you can't do anything.
Verständlich, alle hele Reich, darf nicht verstanden, der Nesche Kruchni, wo das der Emisser Beschützer von Aiden, wo gefindet ist, und der Emisser Beschützer von Eretz Yisrael, der Land, was hat allemal gehört zu Jiden, und gehört ich der Jiden, und wird gehören zu Jiden, Tomid Leila.
All of a sudden, a friend of mine sent me this challah bake, and I said, wow, this is exactly what I need right now. Like some something spiritual to tie all these pieces together and just connect me to what's going on. And then I show up at this Chabad and on Kildare, and it was like everything was beautiful.
So I walked into Rabbi Raskin's office, I sat down with him, and I told him what was going on, I told him what I was feeling. And we came up with the idea that we need to spread light in these dark times that we were currently facing. And he said, okay, so what do you want to do? I said, what if we deliver candles to every Jewish home in Côte Saint-Luc? You know, with a message that says, you know, light candles for Israel, let's do something to bring light to the world. And right away, Rabbi Raskin's face lit up. He liked the idea. He called Mrs. Raskin right away. Within 30 seconds, the whole Raskin family was on the phone on a conference call. I asked Rabbi Raskin, I said, how many homes do we have to deliver to? He stayed calm. He said 9,000. So 9,000 is a big number. You know, I wasn't sure if it was even possible to deliver 9,000 packages by Friday.
Wenn tut in dem, wie ein Mensch darf tun, es muss in die Kadruf der Kirche ist, wo der Eibischter hat ihm gegeben, wird nicht, was beleicht, nicht nur allein und sein Mischproche und sein Stadt, nur die ganze Welt herum.
One thing led to the next thing I knew, we were designing the card that was going to go into the bag with Rabbi Naparstik until 1:30 in the morning. The following day, the candles were ordered, the bags were ordered. By Wednesday night, we already had our first deliveries going. I called Rabbi Tzemach on Wednesday at must have been around 2 o'clock. Still skeptical that we were going to get it done. He said, listen, we have 50 people showing up at 5 o'clock. I said, 50 people? Okay, yeah. From where? Came at around 6 o'clock, and we're 50, maybe even 60, 70 people, kids, mothers, husbands, everybody working together to get this project off the ground and to make it follow through.
I created this page on Instagram for all the local Jews in Montreal. It's sort of like a mitzvah hub where they get together and do mitzvahs, volunteering, and everything you can to just do things together. And thankfully, Chabad, with all the resources it has, they were able to give us a lot of volunteer work, a lot of event planning, and everything we did, it was thanks to Chabad. You know, the candles we gave out on Friday, we gave out over 1,000 candles.
There were a few speakers that night, a few women from the community, and one of them was Sarah Raskin. Did not know who she was, but she got up and she started speaking about the meaning of baking challah and what we do and how we, the whole process of baking challah and the prayers associated and the meaning behind it and the history of our people. And it was like a uniting speech, and I was totally focused. Like the only person in the room that I could see at that moment was Sarah, and I was like inspired by her words. I said to myself, I really need to go speak to her after this event and see if there's any way that I can be in her presence over the Shabbat after the event. It was getting late. I remember my friend was ready to go, and I approached Sarah and I said, listen, I don't keep Shabbat, but it's always been something that I've wanted to do, and now with what's happening in Israel, I just feel much more connected to my Jewish identity, but I need to learn how to do it. So maybe I could be included somehow in a Shabbat experience with you and your family. And she said, of course.
If it wasn't for Chabad, I wouldn't be, number one, going to yeshiva tomorrow. I wouldn't be on my spiritual learning guide right now. And I'm so filled with motivation to learn Torah, to have people that have the same goals around me. We're praying for Israel, we're praying for our safety, we're praying for the safety of others, for our family. We all have the same goal. I feel like Chabad is a safety hub for me.
During my life in Israel, I had been missing this sense of Judaism that I haven't really found living in Israel. I feel like I was brought with my parents and my children to Montreal to reconnect with Judaism, and I cannot say how strongly I felt connected and feel connected to the war effort, to my people, even more so than having been in Israel and maybe not doing all of these things that I'm doing now. Chabad of Côte St. Luc was my first point of connection in Montreal. It was really like that full circle connection, that vessel which brought me back to where I want to be in terms of my Judaism.
One thing that sets Chabad of Côte St. Luc different than many communities around the world is the outreach that they have, not only to their own community and the members, but to everybody, seniors, the kids, everybody somehow is their responsibility, even if they don't feel the same way back.